You've been walking past the best slot machines in Vegas this whole time, the ones with track records most players ignore. Former casino workers just broke their silence, and what they shared about these 11 machines changes everything you thought you knew about gambling in Sin City. Let's start with number 11, and work our way to the best of them all. The 11th machine on our list is called Gold Hills. This game comes up frequently in conversations among former casino employees, and there are clear reasons why it's often mentioned. Gold Hills isn't a machine that relies on massive screens or flashy branding to draw attention. That low-profile design is exactly what makes it appealing to certain regulars who prefer machines that don't attract crowds. According to former slot technicians, Gold Hills machines are commonly configured with theoretical return-to-player percentages in the mid-90% range, depending on denomination and casino setup. That places it toward the higher end of what players typically encounter on the Las Vegas slot floor, especially among games that include progressive-style features. Former floor managers often point to Gold Hills when talking about balanced volatility. The game doesn't rely on extreme swings to create excitement. Instead, it delivers steady, small and medium wins, which helps maintain credit levels while players wait for larger features to develop. Gold nugget symbols are central to the game's structure. Their appearance contributes toward triggering a hold and spin style bonus feature, a mechanic that many regulars find more engaging than traditional free spins. Technicians familiar with the machine note that this feature allows symbols to lock in place and gradually fill available positions across the grid. Because of this structure, some players prefer Gold Hills over flashier progressive titles. The bonus unfolds over multiple respins rather than resolving instantly, which creates a sense of momentum without relying on extreme payouts. At the same time, the feature remains governed by the machine's internal probability model. Progressive jackpots on Gold Hills reset to fixed base levels after being hit, based on the machine's configuration. These reset values are defined in advance and remain consistent throughout the day regardless of prior play. Coming up at number 10 on our list is Cluck Cash, which often comes up in internal conversations among casino staff. The farm-themed presentation with cartoon chickens and barns gives the impression of a lighthearted, low-stakes game, but former employees describe a very different reason for its presence on the floor. Technicians familiar with the machine explain that Cluck Cash is typically configured with a medium volatility math model. That structure allows the base game to produce regular winning combinations without the rapid credit loss seen in higher volatility titles. Wins occur often enough to sustain play sessions, which is one reason the game tends to hold players' attention longer than expected. The chicken coop bonus feature is a major focus of the game's design. Former floor supervisors note that this pick-style bonus appears at a pace that feels consistent relative to similar features on comparable machines without being rare enough to feel unreachable. When triggered, the bonus invites players to select chicken coops that reveal credit awards, multipliers, or additional picks. According to accounts from casino staff who monitored bonus performance, the prize distribution within the chicken coop feature is structured to avoid early dead picks that immediately collapse the bonus. Instead, outcomes often unfold gradually, allowing multiple reveals before the feature resolves. This design gives the bonus a sense of momentum without altering the game's overall probability model. Wild rooster symbols also play an important role in the base game. These symbols substitute for standard pays and contribute to additional winning combinations that would not otherwise occur. Technicians who worked on similar titles describe the wild frequency as tuned to support steady gameplay rather than dramatic swings. Former casino workers have pointed out that Cluck Cash consistently showed longer than average session times in performance reports. Players were more likely to remain seated and continue spinning, which typically reflects a balance between frequent smaller returns and occasional bonus activity rather than large, infrequent payouts. One former floor manager from a strip property recalled that certain regulars actively sought out Cluck Cash when it was available. These players tended to favor games with predictable pacing and clearly defined bonus mechanics, and they gravitated toward machines that felt steady rather than volatile. Before we move on, make sure you're subscribed and let me know in the comments if you're visiting Vegas or if you actually live there. Now, back to the list. At number 9, X-slot techs consistently point to Mighty Panda. This game has earned repeated mentions, and not simply because of its friendly panda theme. On the surface, the game looks light and approachable, but the underlying structure follows a familiar and carefully tuned design. Technicians who worked with the machine describe Mighty Panda as being built around a classic hold-and-spin mechanic that serves as the core of the gameplay. During the bonus feature, panda symbols must be collected, and each new panda that lands resets the spin counter. This structure allows a single bonus round to unfold over multiple stages rather than resolving immediately. Former maintenance staff noted that the bonus feature is designed so it doesn't typically end after just 1 or 2 symbol drops. Instead, the feature progresses, gradually creating multiple opportunities for additional symbols to appear while still operating entirely within the game's internal probability model. Reports from casino personnel indicate that Mighty Panda is commonly configured with a theoretical return in the low to mid 90% range, depending on casino setup. The base game provides smaller, more frequent outcomes, while a larger share of the game's volatility is concentrated in the hold and spin feature. The progressive jackpot structure includes mini, minor, major, and grand tiers. According to former employees, the lower jackpot tiers are integrated into the game flow in a way that keeps the progressive system feeling active, while the higher tiers remain infrequent and impactful. One former slot director mentioned that Mighty Panda consistently performed well in player satisfaction tracking. Casinos monitored this through loyalty card usage and repeat visitation patterns and games that balanced steady engagement, with acceptable house edge tended to remain on the floor longer. Floor supervisors also observed that Mighty Panda was typically placed in mid-traffic areas of the casino. It wasn't hidden away, but it also didn't require prime placement to attract attention, which often reflects confidence in a game's ability to sustain play without heavy visual promotion. Sitting at number 8, we have Wolfrun Gold, and former casino employees often reference this version when discussing how the franchise evolved over time. Wolfrun Gold represents a later iteration of the original Wolfrun series. The original Wolfrun built a loyal following, and Wolfrun Gold retained many of the core elements that made the brand recognizable while adjusting how features are presented. Former slot technicians explain that Wolfrun Gold maintains the stacked wild symbols that define the original game. These wilds remain a central part of the base game, creating multi-line wins when they align across the reels. The base game is structured to remain active between bonus features, which helps sessions feel less stop and start. Casino staff familiar with the machine describe its volatility as moderate, with outcomes distributed across both the base game and the bonus rounds. The stacked wilds contribute to visible wins in the base game, while larger swings tend to occur during feature play rather than appearing randomly. The free spins bonus activates when scatter symbols land across the reels. During this feature, additional wolf symbols are introduced, increasing the visual density of wilds and altering how outcomes unfold within the bonus. Former employees noted that this enhancement changes the pacing of free spins by allowing more symbol interaction without changing the machine's underlying probability structure. One former slot director pointed to Wolfrun Gold's performance in time-on-device tracking. Players who began sessions on the game often remained longer than average, which casinos monitor closely as an indicator of sustained engagement rather than short, volatile play bursts. Wolfrun Gold also includes a gold frame mechanic that appears around certain symbol positions. When active, these frames can reveal credit prizes or interact with other features, adding another layer to the game's presentation. Technicians described this mechanic as something players encounter during normal play rather than an element reserved only for rare events. The familiarity of the Wolfrun name plays a role as well. Players who recognize the original game already understand the basic structure, while the added features in Wolfrun Gold provide variation without requiring a learning curve, allowing sessions to continue smoothly as the game unfolds. Number 7 on this list is Big Hot Flaming Pots. Big Hot Flaming Pots stands out immediately because of its unusual name, but former casino employees pointed to it for reasons tied to its structure rather than its branding. The game is built around a pot collection mechanic that differs from traditional line-based slot play. According to technicians familiar with the machine, flaming pot symbols appear across the reels and contribute toward triggering various bonus features once certain collection thresholds are reached. This system creates a sense of progression during normal play, as symbols accumulate toward clearly defined outcomes rather than resolving everything in a single spin. Casino staff describe big hot flaming pots as operating with a medium to high volatility profile. The base game includes smaller, regular wins that help maintain credit levels, while larger swings are concentrated around the collection features and bonus rounds. This balance allows play sessions to continue between bonus triggers without constant sharp losses. The pot collection system is divided into multiple reward tiers. Former floor supervisors noted that partial collections can still result in credit awards or free spins, rather than requiring all positions to be filled before anything happens. This tiered structure gives players frequent milestones during play, while larger rewards remain tied to higher collection levels. One former slot manager observed that big hot flaming pots maintain steady activity even during off-peak hours. Unlike some titles that rely on busy casino traffic to perform well, this game continued to attract play throughout the day, suggesting familiarity and repeat engagement among regular visitors. During the free spins feature, the pot collection mechanic remains active. Casino maintenance staff explained that the bonus round is structured to accelerate progression through the collection system, allowing multiple outcomes to unfold within a single feature while staying within the game's established probability model. Many configurations of big hot flaming pots include progressive jackpots at the mini, minor, major, and grand levels. Former employees noted that the lower-tier jackpots are integrated into normal gameplay, appearing as part of the broader reward structure rather than isolated, rare events. Technicians also mentioned that big hot flaming pots tended to operate with stable performance over time, requiring fewer manual adjustments than some other machines. Consistency like this usually reflects a math model that behaves predictably under normal play conditions, without relying on extreme variance to generate interest. Coming in at number 6, there's Mo Mummy, which brings an Egyptian theme to the casino floor. Ex-casino employees noted that the game's appeal extends beyond its visuals and sound design. Beneath the themed presentation, the structure follows a familiar pattern that many modern slots are built around. According to technicians familiar with the machine, Mo Mummy uses a hold and spin bonus system as its central feature. During this bonus, mummy symbols must be collected, and each new symbol that lands resets the available spin count. This structure allows the feature to unfold gradually rather than ending immediately, keeping the bonus active as long as new symbols continue to appear. Former slot technicians indicated that Mo Mummy is typically configured with a theoretical return in the low to mid 90% range, depending on denomination and casino setup. The game operates with a medium volatility profile, distributing outcomes between regular base game results and feature-driven payouts rather than concentrating everything into rare events. Casino staff explained that the hold and spin mechanic is designed to provide multiple opportunities for extension within a single bonus round. The feature progresses step by step with outcomes determined by the machine's internal probability model rather than resolving in a fixed or predictable way. One former floor manager noted that Mo Mummy showed strong repeat play behavior. Players who engaged with the game during one visit were often observed returning to it during subsequent trips. Casinos track this kind of repeat engagement closely, as it reflects how well a game maintains interest over time. The game includes a progressive jackpot structure with multiple tiers. According to former employees, the lower tiers are integrated into normal play flow, allowing jackpots to appear as part of regular gameplay rather than as isolated, infrequent events. Reports from casino staff also indicated that Mo Mummy was typically placed in solid, mid-traffic areas of the floor. These placements often reflect confidence in a game's ability to attract and retain players without relying on premium visibility. Former slot attendants mentioned that Mo Mummy appealed to players who enjoyed hold and spin mechanics but were looking for an alternative to more common themes. The Egyptian styling and familiar structure gave the game a distinct presence, without requiring players to learn an entirely new system. At number 5, experienced players frequently bring up Railroad Riches. It stands out partly because its theme is less common on the casino floor. Former casino employees noted that the train motif gives the game a distinct identity without relying on licensed characters or recognizable franchises, allowing the focus to remain on the core game mechanics. Technicians familiar with Railroad Riches describe it as a link feature slot built around collecting train car symbols during base play. When enough of these symbols land, a bonus feature activates. This structure creates a sense of progression during normal spins, as symbols accumulate toward clearly defined outcomes rather than resolving everything immediately. Casino staff observed that Railroad Riches tended to hold players' attention for longer sessions. Time on device data showed that players often stayed seated for extended periods, which typically reflects a game that distributes outcomes steadily rather than concentrating. All results into rare events. The link feature itself includes a range of possible rewards, such as credit prizes, multipliers, and progressive jackpot symbols. Maintenance staff explained that this bonus is structured to deliver a mix of outcomes, with results spread across multiple value levels rather than relying entirely on minimum or maximum prizes. The base game is designed to provide regular interaction between bonus activations. Small wins appear often enough to keep play moving, while larger swings remain tied to the feature rounds. This pacing allows sessions to continue without long stretches of inactivity. Railroad Riches includes a standard progressive jackpot structure with mini, minor, major, and grand tiers. Former employees noted that the lower-tier jackpots are incorporated into regular gameplay, appearing as part of the overall reward system rather than as isolated events. Reports from casino personnel indicated that Railroad Riches performed consistently across different times a day. Unlike some titles that rely on busy periods or visible nearby wins to attract attention, this game maintained steady play regardless of floor traffic or surrounding activity. Cracking the top 4, we have Action Link King of the Pride. King of the Pride is part of the Action Link series, a group of games that former casino employees often referenced when talking about modern hold-and-spin designs. While the series is visually loud, staff noted that King of the Pride stood out because of how clearly its mechanics were communicated to players during normal play. The game uses the Action Link mechanic, a hold-and-spin style bonus built around collecting lion symbols. When the feature activates, each symbol that lands awards a credit value and locks in place, while the available spin count resets. This structure allows the bonus to develop gradually rather than resolving in a single moment. Maintenance staff familiar with the machine explained that the bonus is structured around visible progression. Each collected symbol fills a position on the grid, and different jackpot tiers are tied to how many positions are completed during the feature. Filling a smaller number of positions awards the lower tiers, while completing the entire grid results in the top prize. This tiered layout gives the bonus a clear sense of movement as it unfolds. Former floor managers noted that King of the Pride performed well in repeat play tracking. Players who interacted with the game during one visit were often observed returning to it later, a pattern casinos monitor closely when evaluating long-term floor performance. Games that maintain repeat engagement tend to do so through clear mechanics and predictable pacing rather than sudden, extreme outcomes. The base game includes stacked symbols that can create multi-line wins on individual spins. Technicians described this as a way to keep the base game active between bonus triggers, allowing visible wins to occur without relying entirely on feature activation. Casino staff also observed that King of the Pride benefited from the social visibility of its progressive jackpots. When jackpots were awarded on nearby machines, the resulting attention often drew interest from surrounding players. This effect was tied to the game's presentation rather than any change in underlying behavior, and it contributed to consistent floor traffic around the machines. The third slot machine on this list is Phoenix Link Queen Chew. This game is another entry in the Link-style slot category, and former casino workers pointed to specific design choices that set it apart from similar titles. While the Phoenix imagery and Asian-inspired styling give the game a strong visual identity, Staff familiar with the machine emphasize that its structure is what holds attention over time. Queen Chew uses a hold-and-spin bonus system that activates when a sufficient number of Phoenix symbols land during base play. Once the feature begins, each Phoenix symbol displays a credit value and locks into position, while the available spin count resets. This format allows the bonus to build progressively rather than resolving all at once. Technicians who worked with the game explain that the bonus round is structured around visible accumulation. As more symbols lock into place, the grid fills gradually, giving players a clear sense of progression during the feature. Different outcomes are tied to how many positions are filled, rather than relying on a single all-or-nothing result. Former floor managers noted that Queen Chew performed well among players who were already familiar with Link-style mechanics. The game's bonus layout makes it easy to understand how jackpot tiers are reached, which contributes to sustained engagement during play sessions. The jackpot system follows the standard mini, minor, major, and grand structure used across the Link series. Each tier is tied to specific completion thresholds within the bonus feature, making the payout structure transparent as the round unfolds. Casino staff also mentioned that Queen Chew stood out within the Link lineup due to its presentation. Enhanced graphics and sound design made the game feel more polished than some neighboring machines, which helped it attract attention even when placed alongside other Link titles. The base game includes wild symbols and scatter pays that provide regular interaction between bonus rounds. Technicians noted that this base game activity helps maintain session flow while players wait for feature activation. Former employees observed that Queen Chew machines were often positioned near other Link series games, creating clusters where players could easily move between similar options. Despite the proximity, Queen Chew consistently drew play on its own, suggesting its combination of mechanics and presentation resonated strongly within that category. Taking the number 2 spot, Dragon Link Golden Century. Dragon Link has become closely associated with hold-and-spin gameplay in modern casinos, and Golden Century is one version that former casino employees frequently referenced when discussing how the series evolved. While it follows the familiar Dragon Link structure, staff noted that this particular title struck a balance between presentation and mechanics. Golden Century uses the standard hold-and-spin bonus format, where dragon symbols are collected during base play to activate the feature. Once triggered, each symbol displays a credit value and locks into place, while the available spin count resets. The bonus unfolds gradually as additional symbols land, allowing the round to develop over multiple steps rather than resolving immediately. Technicians familiar with the game described the bonus round as visually clear and easy to follow. Credit values remain visible throughout the feature, and the grid-based layout makes it straightforward to see how outcomes are forming as the spins continue. This transparency contributes to how players interact with the game during longer sessions. Casino staff observed that Golden Century often showed strong time-on-device performance. Players who began sessions on the game frequently remained seated for extended periods, a metric casinos monitor to understand how effectively a machine sustains engagement rather than producing short, high-volatility bursts. The progressive jackpot system follows the familiar mini, minor, major, and grand structure found across the Dragon Link family. Each tier is integrated into the hold-and-spin feature, with outcomes determined by how many positions are filled during the round. This layout gives the feature a sense of progression without relying on a single outcome. Former floor supervisors mentioned that Golden Century drew attention during jackpot events, particularly when smaller progressives were awarded nearby. These moments often created visible excitement around the machines, contributing to consistent traffic in the Dragon Link area of the floor. The base game includes dragon-themed symbols and standard line pays that generate regular interaction between bonus activations. Technicians noted that this base game activity helps maintain pacing during play, allowing sessions to continue smoothly while players wait for features to trigger. Casino management staff recalled that Golden Century was often requested for floor placement because it demonstrated reliable performance over time. The game generated wagering volume through sustained play rather than abrupt swings, which aligned with long-term floor strategy. Former employees also noted that Golden Century tended to attract repeat visitors who became familiar with its structure and presentation. These players returned to the game not because it offered special advantages, but because its mechanics and pacing matched what they expected from a Dragon Link title. And finally, at number 1 is Buffalo Ultimate Stampede, which represents a later evolution of the long-running Buffalo franchise. Former casino employees often reference this version when discussing how the series expanded over time. While the original Buffalo established the core identity, Ultimate Stampede builds on that foundation with additional feature layers and visual intensity. Former slot technicians explained that Buffalo Ultimate Stampede is typically configured with a theoretical return in the mid-90% range, depending on denomination and casino setup. These figures place it within the standard range for Las Vegas slots that combine frequent features with large-scale bonus potential. The game uses sunset scatter symbols to trigger free spins. When the feature activates, wild buffalo symbols appear with multipliers applied, allowing outcomes to scale quickly within a single bonus round. Casino staff noted that this structure concentrates much of the game's volatility into free spins rather than distributing it evenly across base play. Buffalo Ultimate Stampede also includes a stampede feature that introduces additional wild symbols across the reels. During these moments, the reels become densely populated with wilds, increasing the visual intensity of the game and creating expanded win patterns without altering the underlying probability model. Former floor managers observed that Buffalo Ultimate Stampede frequently drew attention during bonus activity. Large non-jackpot payouts during features often created visible excitement around the machines, contributing to sustained interest during busy periods. Many configurations of Buffalo Ultimate Stampede include progressive jackpots. Former employees noted that the lower-tier progressives are integrated into normal gameplay flow, appearing as part of the broader feature structure rather than isolated events. Casino staff also mentioned that Buffalo Ultimate Stampede was commonly placed in high-visibility areas of the floor. These placements typically reflect confidence in a game's ability to attract play through familiarity and feature presentation rather than through novelty alone. Technicians familiar with the machine described its stacked symbol mechanic as a defining part of the base game. Stacked symbols create frequent multi-line outcomes, keeping base play visually active between bonus triggers and contributing to longer continuous sessions. Buffalo Ultimate Stampede developed a strong following among regular slot players who preferred recognizable mechanics combined with high-energy features. Familiarity with the Buffalo structure paired with layered bonuses allowed sessions to continue smoothly without requiring players to learn a new system. And that wraps up our list of the 11 slot machines former casino employees say are worth paying attention to in Las Vegas. Of course, no slot is ever guaranteed. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you're subscribed. We'll be covering the best slot machines in more states soon. And if you've played any of these machines before, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. Thanks for watching, and good luck out there.